Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. Thank you for joining me. We're gonna sit down and play with some new makeup today. I bought some new things, some things that I've seen on social media, some brand new launches that I just felt like I needed to try. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna play with some makeup, get this face done for the day. So if that sounds good, then just continue watching. As you already can probably tell, I have my eyebrows already filled in. I will put all the products that I use for my brows in the description box with the links for them. And I will also put the products that I use for my skincare that I do off camera just to kind of prep my skin in advance to filming content. So now we get to play with some makeup. Let me show you some of the products that I purchased because I can't wait to try them. A few of the items that I'm going to use in today's video are on the more high end, some new products that have launched, and then some things that I've seen quite a few times show up on my FYP over on TikTok, and I thought I'd give it a try. So that first product is an eye corrector, under eye corrector actually, from Tarte. This is the Colored Clay CC Under Eye Corrector. I bought the light medium peach color. I've seen this so many times. So many people talk about this over on TikTok, so I decided to purchase one for myself because honestly, I do have darkness under my eyes. I do have some discoloration. Sometimes I don't sleep well and everything shows under the eyes. The skin is so thin there so you can see everything. And I wanted to cover it. So we're going to use that today. But I also did pick up a couple other things. Since we've mentioned TikTok already, this brand was only on TikTok and now it's available at Sephora. This is the Experiment, the super saturated 30% glycerin serum, goopy, gloppy kind of texture, which is very hydrating and nourishing to the skin with 30% glycerin, so it's very, very hydrating. I did not think about putting this on in today's video since I've already done my skincare, so I will be testing this out and kind of sharing my feedback with you guys eventually in a video. But now this brand, if you've seen it over on TikTok, it is available at Sephora, so yay for that. They're getting more Korean products and brands, which is so nice to see. Speaking of serums, I also picked up the Ordinary, the Argireline Solution 10%. This is not a new launch. This is something that I've been wanting to try. I've read up on Argireline giving you similar results to Botox, and honestly, full transparency, I've thought about Botox and filler to do just a little bit of a mommy makeover for myself. Not anything crazy. Don't come for me if you're against it. I've thought about it, but I am not ready to jump into that just yet. Still doing my research, so this is supposed to help with the fine lines. I do have fine lines on my forehead. I've had them for many, many years. I make, if I can talk, a lot of facial expressions just here on camera. In my personal life, with my kids, we are silly all the time. So even though I laugh so much and laughter is so good for the soul, it also isn't the best for wrinkles and fine lines. So I do have some on the forehead. I do have a little bit around the outer edges of the eye. All totally normal, by the way. I'm not against aging and letting that be visible. It's been there for a while. But this can help kind of soften the look of it. So I thought, why not try it before doing the actual Botox? Maybe when I hit 40, that will be what I do for myself on my 40th birthday. But we still have a little bit of time before I hit 40, so maybe we'll give this a try instead. So if you've used that and had good results, or even if your results aren't positive with that, I would love to know. If you don't mind sharing that in the comments, let your girl know if that's actually gonna work. I have high hopes for it, so we'll see about that. Anyways, moving on to the next new launch. It's a new setting spray, the Translucent Hydrating Setting Spray Ultra Blur from Mercier. So I cannot wait to try this. This actually looks like it could be a really nice setting mist to blur the skin, and that's kind of what I like, looking blurred and kind of poreless, and I think that this could be that for the final step of my makeup routine. Dibs also launched a new mascara primer duo. I picked up the mini. I wanted to try it out. I've seen some videos here and there since this is a new product. If you pull up the Ulta site, it's going to be still listed under the new tab of makeup products that launched. So this is actually quite interesting. It's got a black mascara, which I typically like to use. Black mascara on my top and bottom lashes. But the primer is actually dark brown. So most primers for lashes are going to be white. There are a couple that are tinted black, but they're really, really slim, the options when it comes to that. There have been a few here and there that may have a tint to it that's not quite black, maybe like a light blue. I think it's Hard Candy that has one. But as far as a brown primer, Haven't seen one of those yet. And then the mascara, like I said, is just the classic black mascara. So I thought the mini was a great place to start to see if this is actually going to work. We're going to use this today without curling the lashes so we can see if it actually lifts the lashes and gives me more of an effect. So I did not curl them before this video. So we're going to try this out. The Unleshia Cushion Foundation is now finally available for purchase at Ulta. When I bought some Korean makeup products for the video that I posted, it's like a week and a half ago at this point, this was not available for me to purchase. All the options had a dash through it, so I could not add one to my cart. So finally, all the shades are available, and that's what it looks like. It's a green compact, and I chose the shade 22N Sienna. I also have some other new things that I wanted to use that are not new launches. They're just new to me. The last new thing that I wanted to shout out before we actually start applying products is the new Rare Beauty perfume. This smells so good. I bought the small little set. I saved the box to show it to you guys. It's the Rare Beauty Eau de Parfum. It's her first fragrance. This is what the box looks like. You can get it at Sephora. It's, I believe, $35 for these two pieces. So this is the small little roller. This is actually an exact replica of the full-size bottle. So the cap, everything looks like the full size, but it's just scaled down more of a miniature size. And instead of this being one of those options where you have to kind of dump it out, it actually has a roller, which is genius. And I give her kudos for the packaging. It looks beautiful. And the actual roller itself is a sprayer, not a roll-on, which I love this kind of sprayer. This smells divine. It smells delicious. It's sweet. It's got all the things. So let me read to you the notes. It's listed on the back of the box. It's a warm and decadent with a touch of spice. So the notes, the top notes is caramel, pistachio, and pink pepper. The heart of it is ginger, cocoa beans, and vanilla. The dry is the sandalwood, tonka beans, and skin musk. All that together creates such a yummy, warm, sultry scent that is light, but there's some depth to it. It's great for daytime. It's great for nighttime. Date night, it could be your signature scent. She did a wonderful job with this, and I just feel like I'm definitely going to be buying this in full size when I run out of these, but this smells just so good. And kudos to her for her first fragrance being a great formula, a great scent. It lingers, it lasts, it's beautiful. I love it. So if you like those notes that I read off to you, I think you'll really enjoy it, and it might be worth checking out. Now that we've got all that out of the way, I need to take a sip of my coffee before we start applying makeup. And I have to show you this mug because I got this 2 days ago from Target, and it's just absolutely darling. Come on. Tell me this is not cute. Is it too soon? Is it too early for the pumpkin and the Halloween stuff? The Target that I go to, that I frequent every single week, at least once, I swear I live there. They have all of the Halloween decor, all of the harvest things, the pumpkin, the costumes, the candy buckets, the candies for the holiday. And it's like, we just hit September. Like, can we just slow down a little bit? But anyways, I got this mug because I figured it's probably going to sell out and I want one. It was 12 bucks. So I was like, yeah, I'm doing it. So if I can find it still, if it's still in stock, I hope it is. I will link it for you. Now let's get on to the makeup. I just realized that I did not hit record when I was doing the under eye corrector application. So we're gonna do it again. I've got my hair up, ready to get this going, and now, okay. So I applied this thinking I was talking to you on this side with my finger, and I wasn't even recording. So you can see the difference. This is the side with the corrector and without. I can see a huge difference. And I feel like it kind of meshed right into my skin, blended in nicely with my fingers. Now I am starting to get a little bit of peeling here just because I had quite a bit of sun exposure and a little bit of sunburn from the beach that I recently got back from. We went to Gulf Shores, by the way, and it was such a great trip. But the traffic getting back was insane. So yesterday, I tried to clean the car, get everything taken care of. We got back late Monday, Labor Day, and it took us 3 additional hours to drive back home. And we don't live that far. I couldn't believe it. It was just absolute insanity. So I have not slept a full night's rest since we got back, and you can tell I have some darkness, some discoloration. If I go like this, you can kind of see there's still a little bit there, but I did not put that much on. I do think it made a tremendous difference of how this looks, and I'm happy with it. I'm going to do this other side now that I'm recording finally. I'm going to use my fingers, and I'm just going to press and pat this in. Corrector is done. I do feel like I instantly look like I've slept a full 8 hours when I haven't, and I love it. I do have a little bit of skin that's starting to peel just from the sun exposure here, but beyond that, I feel like it blended really nicely. I'm very happy with this, so we are definitely going to keep playing around with that, and I'm going to definitely use that even with a no makeup kind of day where I just do a little bit through the brows, this under the eyes, maybe a little bit of gloss, and call it a day. I think it definitely made a huge difference. And I'm really happy that I decided to try that, and it turned out to work out really nicely. And that is the swatch of the light medium peach. I'm not sure if I showed you that already. Now let's go ahead and apply some foundation. I do want to use a little bit of this primer. This has been my go-to, the Velvet Smooth Primer from Iconic London. It actually does a great job at smoothing out the skin and keeping the pores looking more minimized under foundation. So I like to take this right in through here, and I typically do this before I apply any makeup. We did do a little bit of that corrector, and I did kind of blend it down a little further. So we're just going to kind of work right over that. And hopefully this will help also smooth out the skin that's starting to peel, like on the sides of my nose, just from sun exposure. But I've been really happy and thrilled with the results of this primer. It also has a setting spray that you could use with it. It's not an absolute must-have to have both of them, but they do work nicely together. We're going to use a cushion foundation, which is not something you typically see here in the United States. It's a Korean brand, Unleshia. So we're going to try this out. I bought the Satin Wear Healthy Green Cushion in the shade 22N. So this is what it looks like. It has a few holes where the product comes out, and of course you kind of just push this down a little bit. But I think what you're supposed to do is actually push down and kind of push this side. You see how you can kind of push that in? Do you see that? When you push the side button, it actually comes up through a bunch of the little holes. So it almost looks kind of like a flower. It comes with a little powder puff type of thing that you could use. I'm going to use my Beauty Blender just because I like how this applies the makeup. I've gone back to the original Beauty Blender, and it's flawless when you use it for makeup. So I'm going to just kind of bounce that into the compact itself. And then I'm going to just kind of stamp it so you guys can see what the 22N Sienna looks like. And this is actually several shades darker than what I typically would have gone for, and it still is quite light for me right now. And I'm just going to bounce this in, and we'll do half, and we'll see how this looks over that primer from Iconic London. But I did order a few shades darker than I typically go for, but not quite as dark as my actual color right now, just because this golden shade is going to fade. As we go into the fall and the winter months, I'm not going to stay this dark for the rest of the year, and even into the spring of next year, it's not going to be this intense. And I want to be able to still use this product if I like it, and have a shade that I can still pull off even if I'm a little bit more on the fair side, if that makes sense. So I can always add bronzer to it, mix liquid bronzer in the future, but I just want to go straight in with it right now, just to kind of see what it's like, the color, the coverage. And we're just going to use this sponge, the rounded side of my sponge, to kind of bounce this in. And as I said, we'll just do half and we'll kind of compare. And I feel like it does kind of look kind of satiny. And I am starting to peel. I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up, but any makeup and foundation is going to cling to that. So if you see it, it is what it is. It's from just direct sunlight over this trip that I took, and because of the summer. So it is what it is. It's going to peel. It happens to everybody. So I'm just going to try to go over it and not disrupt the skin too much to make it even more obvious. But I feel like that blended in quite nicely. I think it also looks really beautiful, very skin-like, very natural. It does have a nice kind of satin feel to it where it doesn't look too luminous and too greasy and too radiant, but it's also not very flat, matte, and dry looking. So it's kind of right in the middle, which I do personally like. And I think it looks beautiful. So this is the after, and then here's the before. What do you think? So considering that my skin is peeling because of the sun exposure, I think I did a nice job at kind of going over those areas. And of course, as I stated before, when you have dry, peeling, flaky skin, makeup is just not going to sit right on it. No matter what you do, it's just going to happen. So it's got to run its course. It's got to peel. We'll be back to normal in no time. I am starting to get a little peeling above my lip, side of the nose, and on this upper forehead. But it doesn't look bad. As far as everywhere else, it looks fine. It looks skin-like. It gave me some nice coverage. It doesn't feel like I did anything. It just feels really soft and pretty. It just doesn't feel sticky either. It feels actually quite nice Will I set this? Yes, personally, I do like to set my makeup for the most part, especially in summertime, just to make sure that it stays nice and even and it stays put throughout the day. So I'm going to go in with some concealer next. I have been loving this TirTir concealer. It's a double-ended. It's got a liquid and also a stick conceal on the opposite end. The shade 4N is what I've been using. I'm going to just do a couple dots right over that corrector. I don't need a lot of concealer because that corrector did most of the work for me. This is actually what I've been using as my foundation because it is such a pretty formula. I wish that they would just make this formula into a bottle of foundation because I would definitely buy that. All right, so here comes the tricky part, is blending in a little bit of bronzer to give myself a little bit more color on my face to match the rest of my body. And I'm going to use one of my latest bronzers that joined my collection. It's from ABH. It's the Smooth Blur Bronzer in the shade called Warm Sand Vibes. This is such a great formula. I've talked about this in a previous video not too long ago. This is actually a new launch for the brand. Their formula is smooth, it's soft, it's silky, it blends like a dream. It's all the things that you would want in a bronzer. Great shade range, so I'm going to use a little bit of that with the Morphe M162 brush, which is described as a powder brush. I'm going to pick something really light and fluffy, something that's not going to put a lot of pressure onto the skin, and I'm going to just kind of tap because, again, I'm getting a lot of peeling. More so than I anticipated over the nose, over the lip, and here. Basically, my T-zone is peeling right now. And blending powders too aggressively is not going to be the answer. But I do need some bronzer because the shade 22N in this cushion was a little lighter than I expected it to be. So I feel like the range does run a little light on that. Just an FYI. We've got to do some blush, and you know me. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know how much I love a good blush moment. So we talked about the pudding pots from Fwee in a previous video. I had one shade, and that was a shade called O. So then I went back and I bought another shade in the shade called Without. So they both have the same color cap. So I'll show you both of them so you can see. The O shade that I've used previously, and then this is Without. Without looks like it has just a little bit more warmth, and that's this shade here, right? Just a hint more warmth, a little bit more of a beige tone to it, but still within that color family of the pink tones, which I like. So let me go ahead and just show you. If you have not felt the texture of these, it's bouncy, it's moussey, it's airy, it's light, it's whipped, and I feel like it's the perfect thing for me to use right now with my skin. So when you put your finger in there, you will see the product has a bounce to it, which is so, so cool. And let me swatch. It looks like a souffle. If you look at the texture of it, you can get it closer. Hopefully it's focusing there. It looks whipped. It's airy. Very interesting and super pretty on the skin. Blends out very easily. So this is the shade Without. Against my skin right now with all the color I've gotten, it's going to just give me a hint of color. Compare it to O. If you're wondering about that, let's just go ahead and swatch that one for you as well next door to it. That one is going to have a little bit more rosiness, a little bit more depth, and it's going to come across a little bit brighter, especially against more medium tan to deeper skin tones. This Without shade is perfect for fair, ultra fair to light. So I'm going to use my e.l.f. Duo Complexion Brush to pick up that product. I like to use a brush. You can use your fingers. They do have a squishy little tool that you can use as well. I didn't buy it because I'm just not a fan of those tools for applying product, but you definitely could if you wanted to try that experience out for yourself. They do have that available. You can get it on Ulta's website now, which is great. They have the glosses, the pudding pots, and this just blends in so easily. And honestly, this does show up. This is the Without shade. Just a hint of color, right? Not too much. Not trying too hard. Very natural, super pretty on the skin. And it looks flawless, smooth. It just looks like a filter's been applied. The texture is so cool. So this is definitely something that I would recommend that you try. So that's Without. So pretty, so fresh, right? So let's go ahead and add some of that O shade that I have on the back of my hand so we don't waste it. And just add a little pop of something to the cheeks. Another new product that's new to me, it's not a brand new launch, it's from Kylie Cosmetics, and it's a small little quad. It's actually called the Wet Shimmer Quad. And it comes with 4 small shades of some glitter type of eyeshadows. So I will show you what that looks like. You get 4 colors. So you have different shade options, like a nice kind of taupey shade, some kind of purple pinky shades, a nice silver. And I thought this would be really pretty just to add a pop of sparkle to the lid without trying too hard, without it being super intense. Someone can wear this for work, for school, date nights, just because, to run errands. Anybody can use this because the texture is really soft, but the shimmer and the glitter itself is ultra fine. So I'm going to show you what those colors look like. The silver one actually has quite a bit of pigment to it, but these other ones have some pigment, but they're kind of more of, think of like a topper. And that's why I said anybody can use this to go anywhere, because it's just really soft. It elevates any look. So if you put this on its own, it's just gonna look like crushed diamonds, that wet look on the eyes, which is super pretty and very flattering. But you can also add these on top of a eyeshadow. So a cream shadow, powder shadow. You can take your day look, turn it into a nighttime look for a date night or something like that, with something like this formula that you could just easily pat on. Do you see how pretty that looks? Super nice. So let's start with this light shade here. And I think that's going to be the one that looks a little bit more on the kind of purpley side. So let's try those a little bit more on the cooler side. And it does come with like a little peel that's super satisfying across the top. So it looks really nice and pretty right now, but it's going to be full of fingerprints eventually. Has a nice size mirror as well. That's the size of the compact. So let's go into this shade right here, which is a little bit more of like an icy, kind of purpley, pinky lavender shade. Really, really nice. I think it'll play nicely with my camisole top today. And all I did was use a little bit of concealer and setting powder as primer on my lids today. And I'm just going to kind of pat this right on top of my lids, just ever so slightly, to give me a little bit of color. And just give me that wet look, which is exactly what I wanted. An ultra fine sparkle that's not going to be super visible from a mile away. But it's going to be just ultra thin, super pretty though. So pretty. And you see how it gives that wet look when you turn your face and the light hits and reflects off the glitter. And it's not that expensive. I think that this quad was maybe $25 at the most at Ulta. So really affordable for 4 shades. And really great options in tones, some kind of neutral shades, some really cool tone shades, soft light pinks, a little lavender. So if you like those colors, I think you'll really enjoy this formula. Now time for the new Dibs Mascara. I ordered a mini from the Ulta website just to give it a try. It's something that I thought was kind of cool because the primer itself is tinted brown. It is a tubing brown primer, so I saved the box. It's the Double Standard Primer and Mascara Duo. So it's a tubing brown primer, as we talked about already, and it's a volumizing black mascara. The component, first of all, I like the packaging, really nice. So here is the wand for the primer. You can see there. It has a lot of bristles, and the bristles are longer on one side and a little bit shorter on the bottom. And then the mascara wand is a bit more of a fuller mascara wand, and I will show you that. It's the opposite end. It looks like that. You can see it has an hourglass shape, and it is full of bristles all throughout the top and bottom, and it kind of caves in just a little bit in the very center of the applicator. So that's going to give you that hourglass shape. So let's start with the primer. I did not curl my lashes, so we're going to see how this can lift the lashes, if it's going to hold that curl and give me a nice separation. So let's do the brown, and we'll start on the right side. So I do think the primer on its own gives a really soft, kind of natural look to the lashes. It honestly looks like there could be nothing on them because it definitely separated the lashes, but it didn't lengthen them incredibly long like I would have liked. I think it would have been better had I curled my lashes, but I honestly wanted to give it a shot without curling lashes and just see, like, if I didn't have my eyelash curler, what could this do for my lashes? And this is just the primer and nothing. So what we're gonna do is build this up now with the mascara right over the top on this right side. And then we'll compare this look to the bare lashes and we'll see. Did it actually do something good? And here we have the primer and the mascara and bare lashes. What do you think? Hello? Do you see the difference there? Nothing, and then the two products together? Okay, I fear that I'm going to love this even more. The longer the mascara sits out, it kind of typically gets better with it sitting out, hanging out in the drawer. Just hanging out for a little while, it gets better. And this looks beautiful, and it gave me a really nice look. Like, I just don't feel like I need to curl my lashes, and I'm shocked. I really am shocked that it gave me this look. Very impressed. I'm going to use the brown primer only for the bottom lashes just to see what that's like. I'm going for a very soft, light, just kind of minimal makeup look anyways, so I thought that would be a perfect thing to do, is just to use a little bit of the primer underneath. And I did smudge it. Getting too excited, I kind of smudged it on my skin. So I'm going to have to get that off. Okay, and even that smudge that I did, an accident because I got so excited, came off really easily. And the look of just brown primer under the lower lashes just gives a really soft, more natural look to the lashes. And this looks really pretty. It looks defined. It's not over the top. It doesn't look spidery. I'm a big fan of this, and I'm so happy I tried this out. And I honestly just wish that I would have gone for the full size. I just kind of played it safe. Didn't think that I was going to enjoy it as much or that it was overly hyped, but I can see it. I see it. I see it, Dibs. You did a good one there. And of course, I feel like I keep doing this every time I sit down to film, and I forget to do my setting spray before the mascara. So here we are. We're doing things a little bit backwards. So let's go ahead and now go into the Ultra Blur Hydrating Setting Spray from Laura Mercier. Oh yeah, that is light. It's ultra thin. I feel like this is gonna be a good one. Let's give it a go. Okay. The mist on this is divine. Yes. Wow. This is what every setting spray should be like. I'm just gonna say it. That is incredible how it just kind of coated my face evenly, and I didn't have to use a bunch of sprays. And are we not looking more blurred and flawless? Am I seeing things? This looks beautiful. I think it did a nice job. Let's just kind of press this in a bit. Again, just light little soft taps. I feel like I'm seeing things, but this just looks smoother and more blurred, right? Okay. This is another hit. I feel like this is going to be my go-to. I cannot wait to use this again, and I love the ombre look. I like the packaging. Everything about it is a 10 out of 10 so far for me. I love the mister on that. That was just absolutely incredible. For lips today, I think I want to try this new product from e.l.f. This is a new shade. They did a shade extension for their glossy lip stains. I don't think I've ever tried this formula, but it has a little bit of a window there so you can see. I just chose one shade that was listed as new. This is the shade called Polished Peach, and I've had this for weeks, and I just keep forgetting to use it. So we're going to try this out and see how this formula looks and how it wears, but that's what the applicator looks like. And let me do a swatch for you. It's a really pretty kind of bright corally peach shade, which is definitely perfect for summer. All I had on was just a little bit of lip balm, and the lip balm that I had on was the lip visor with SPF from Prequel, which I love. The clear one is great. So now that I've taken that off, I'm going to go straight into this just to see what this is like. And we're going to apply this on directly like this and see how it looks. And this is the e.l.f. Polished Peach. So what do you think? I think the shade is actually really pretty. It's a nice kind of peachy look to it. And honestly, when it's applied, it looks a little bit more peach. But on the swatch, it kind of came across a little bit more corally. At least to me anyways. Maybe it's just the lights here. But I do think that it's a nice, pretty peachy color. Very summery. Just definitely all the things that I wanted it to be. Bright, but not over the top. Not too intense. Not bold like a traffic cone. You see me from a mile away. But it definitely is just slightly out of my everyday comfort zone. I don't wear bright peach tones, and I think I should more often because it's just so pretty, very effortless and easy. I like the shine. It feels pretty thin, kind of like water, very weightless on the lips. So I do think it's a really nice shade. I did wipe off the swatch and it just barely gave me a stain. So this is probably going to need to sit for a little longer before I can get that stained effect. But I do like those kind of formulas for lip products because once it wears off, you're left with a stain and it looks pretty. And you just kind of put some lip balm, or like I do with the SPF, just clear over a stain, and you don't have to worry about it. That's the beauty of lip stains. But I do like this color. It's really pretty, right? Let me know your thoughts on today's look, these products. Have you tried them? What do you want to see from me next? I have some ideas to do some more drugstore one brands. I kind of want to revisit them again and do them because a lot of these brands that I've already done in the past have come out with so many more new products. So I thought maybe let's just revamp that series and start it all over with some new things. Let me know your thoughts. Would you like to see that? I do have obviously more things to try out, more things to test out off camera. So you'll be seeing some kind of roundup videos coming soon with some of these products that I've been testing out behind the scenes. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe so you don't miss out. Take care, you guys, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.